We lose ourselves in the spirit of things. We lose our sight when we put our trust in things of this material world, of things that fade away. Yet we keep coming back, 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 keep coming back. Keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Of things we know. Spirit of things, we lose our sight when we put our trust in things of this material world, of things that fade away. Yet we keep coming back, 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 keep coming back. We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but you stay lost. We're reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow.
Well, well, well. Welcome once again to the CEO Autumn Split live here on twitch.tv/connecting esports. And as always, we have a beautiful evening ahead of us with some beautiful casters. It's gonna be Xenolot. No, oh my god, we are back at this again. But it's gonna be Tokisaki for sure. That one I know. I keep forgetting, mate. It's Xenolot?
Xenolot, yes.
Xenolot. Okay, so,
The first
so
one, I
my
think,
instinct is good. Okay. Many names to remember here. Football, 48 players, casters around 30. Then some people I play with, you know, my parents' name, and hopefully my cat's name.
Those are the
A lot of names to remember, bro. But yeah, I'll give my best. Other than that, we do have a night of beautiful League of Legends in front of us. It is going to be Feral Esports versus Lotus Crystal here in our best of two game number 1. Second series has been rescheduled, meaning that the Bumblebee boys, forfeited, that the Bumblebee boys have been getting a few wins. So yeah, that's how it is. The Among Us has forfeited the series, which will bring us actually to standings that are quite interesting. Toki, I don't know if you have had a chance to have a look at it.
Certainly. Well, I have not really actually been focusing. I've been focusing mainly on the teams that we are going to see right now, obviously. But I do remember, obviously, from 2 days ago that this was a very important match between the Bumblebees and Among Us, mainly for who's going to get the first spot. But because obviously Among Us couldn't play Bumblebee boys, I think because of the head-to-head should have it now.
Yeah, indeed. They are at 17 points, exactly equal to the Among Us points. And thanks to the head-to-head, like you just mentioned, they have the victorious spot number 1, so the highest seed possible, as well as the semifinals secured for them already, which is great. I mean, honestly, that's all you needed. And let's get ourselves in the lobby, since I think they just messaged me that they're ready. But anything else than that, let's talk us through the evening. What can we expect from today's series?
Well, first of all, this is an extremely important series for both these teams because if one of these teams wins, they will make it through to the playoffs. Lotus Crystal are the only ones, however, who cannot afford to tie. Inferno are going to be fine with it because they are ahead of Lotus Crystal right now. But it's literally whichever of these teams wins, they go through. So I feel like everything is on the line for both these teams right now.
Yeah, we were just discussing it beforehand, but it's actually top 8 go through. Is that correct, J7?
Top
Because it
6
goes
go
from
through.
quarters. Oh, is it top 6? So
Yeah, 2 go to
The fir-
semifinals, and then 4 go to quarterfinals. So 2
yeah,
and 2,
so
and then 2 in semifinals.
this is honestly the decider. The two teams below Lotus are both on 9 and 8 points respectively. They're Eclipse and Rocket Core. So they it'll depend on how Eclipse and Feral tie. No, sorry, if Feral loses, yes, Lotus will beat them. So Rocket Core and Eclipse are actually out. So this will be the final spot decider for the places. So it's as you said, it's so crucial, and teams are a bit evenly matched. They've had ups and downs. They've had really good 2-0 series. They've had series that they've had 1-1s where they've had stomps and then also stomped in return. They're both very kind of all over the place teams. They really haven't found like a consistent groove to to just be that consistent and strong. And it's the problem I find with both teams at the moment is that their losses, some of them have been very one-sided, and it's hard to find hope when hard to be super confident in the teams when when your losses can be that hard. It just means that you just might or might not show up in each respective game.
Yeah, I feel like all over the place is the name of the game. We are going to get ourselves into the draft very, very soon. I'm pretty sure it's just started off. It will be
Yes.
Lotus Crystal, I think, on the red side, of course, and
Correct.
Feral or Infamous Academy KW, of course, on the
Yeah.
on the blue side. It's their old name, you know. It's but yes, it's Inferno on the blue side. But no, I just sense on a lot as we do see the Rek'Sai ban interesting coming out. I've seen a lot in solo queue. Did not necessarily know if it was good in the high level of play, but clearly they think it is worthy of a ban. And Rakan will be taken away by Lotus Crystal.
Yeah, Rakan for Inferno Esports just kind of their go-to. I think it's been banned away fairly consistently. But yeah, we're gonna race through these bans. Don't want to focus too much on the bans, bar the actual strengths of the picks themselves. Darius, again, these are mostly comfort picks. We won't see too many of the actual like super strong picks come out. Be interesting to see if some of the pro player solo queue play will creep its way into this game to see if we see a lot of things like the Lucian Nami, the Echo Jungle, even the Tryndamere mid. Be interesting to see if any of these teams have decided to pick some of those up on the most recent games. As I said, this is mostly comfort pick bans as the Katarina and the Darius get taken away.
Yeah, I feel like it's really exciting because it seems like in the meta now, a lot of new champions that we haven't seen viable in a long time suddenly are being played. And well, I was actually going to mention Fiora in the top lane has been taken over the high elo solo queue. Now also going to be taken away. So Lotus Crystal do not want to face that. But Jarvan is one of those junglers again. Does get beaten out by a lot of other junglers, but it is one of those safe early picks that loads of teams like to pick up.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this pickup for Inferno. You did say, yeah, the Fiora is strong. But the Jarvan, I feel like he's a good, consistent jungler, but I don't believe he's first pick worthy. I think he's, especially when one of his key features is being able to lock down supports, and then you get that in return, the Thresh, who can use that lantern to immediately escape from the Jarvan Cataclysm. Jarvan's main strength is his consistent ganking and his ability to lock down individuals. But depending on the ADC now that Lotus decide to pick up, be interesting to see if the Jarvan really gets its uses. And as I said, not a big fan of that first pick.
Yep, as you said, right. When you pick it so early on, there's a lot of counters you can bring to it. Well, and Toronto was another one of those. You have, of course, that pillar that can really ruin your plans. So that is going to be bigger for Lotus Crystal so far, just facing off against the pick of Inferno Esports. But yeah, Amumu, we've seen it a lot, of course, now in the support role. Would not be surprised if this gets locked in. That would mean, however, that the Lucian Nami that we were talking about, which is like, it seems to absolutely take over pro play as well nowadays, is not going to be picked up if this is a lock-in, of course. But yeah, Amumu has been incredibly strong in that support role.
Yeah, that
Ooh.
second bandage toss. And then again, we get the other solo queue pick. Those are both
Yep.
picks we've been seeing. If anybody has been watching the track in the pros with everyone in the past couple weeks, Amumu in the support role and Draven getting picked up. Such an oppressive CC heavy lane. And I think honestly, these are really good pickups into the Thresh that was shown earlier. Because the Thresh, it typically wants to pair with the more immobile ADCs, the ones that don't have the best of time laning, some like Jinx. Xayah has a good laning, but still can't fare well into that Draven and has quite a bit of trouble against Jarvan. So yeah, this is a very unfortunate bot lane already coming out for this side of Lotus Crystal. And then the Camille actually taken away. Again, I'm not a fan of this being blind picked. Camille typically it has seen quite a bit of more play in the solo queue in the past couple of weeks with the solo queue players, but it does tend to do best in towards tanks. And as we've seen in the top lane, a lot of fighters coming out. Kennen, I feel like, is one that would do well into the Camille, but we'll see what Feral takes as second phase of the bans. Yone taken away. I wouldn't have banned that away. They have a lot of ADs for the side of Feral Esports. Then also Aphelios and Ezreal taken away by Feral.
Yeah, I like the well, Ezreal obviously is very strong right now, and then Aphelios is, known to be the best AD carry, basically, always that Thresh, but it's actually going to turn into the Vayne, which kind of tells me that Feral do want to go towards something tankier, because yes, of course, they have the Amumu and Jarvan, who can be considered as decent tanks. Jarvan, of course, kind of builds off tank usually, but we'll see. Maybe they are planning to go more towards an even more tanky, which would make that Camille Star pick obviously a bit stronger. Now the question is, what will Lotus go for as the AD carry? It is going to be the Jhin picked up by them.
Yeah, Jhin, maybe. We'll see how he fares well into the Draven. It's really hard to judge some of these solo lane matchups when you see it's Gamiyushi playing Draven or Hansama playing Draven.
Yeah.
It's a bit unfair. They're just going to it's going to be one-sided until we start to see the pros actually match up towards each other. Interesting that they take away the Vayne. Again, I feel like the Vayne would not have done well into Draven and Mumu Jarvan. That's not a fun trio to be locked down and blown up by, as the Gwen is actually taking Feral and Feral. So instead of that tank going to opt for a fighter, assuming the top lane, Gwen can't really survive in the mid unless it's solo lane Draven. That's a possibility, as we are waiting for this final pick for Feral, and it's going to be the Corki going into the mid lane.
Likely, yeah. And then instantly Lotus Crystal go in with that Syndra, almost as if they had that prepared beforehand. So that will round up these comps. Syndra, we, don't really see it as often nowadays anymore. Sometimes I've seen it still being picked into the bot lane, but obviously that is not going to be the case here. But pretty standard, honestly, from Lotus Crystal when it comes to their composition. And the side of Feral Esports, they definitely have something more exciting going. That Corki, I did not necessarily expect. And then, of course, you have the skill matchup of the Gwen into the Camille in the top lane. What do we really think about these comms?
Honestly, it's hard to judge them. I feel like there's a very aggressive bot lane by the side of Feral Esports. But then there's also carries in the mid and the top lane. I don't know where Jarvan's going to want to go.
Everywhere.
Everyone's going to be vying for that resource. And when I say resources, I mean that jungle pressure, the time for the jungler spent in your lane respectively. So that is like what I consider a resource. And I don't know, everyone's going to be asking for, vying for it. There's no weak side for Feral Esports. There's everyone's going to want some bit of pressure, and it's going to be really problematic because honestly, for the side of Lotus Crystal, it seems a lot more defined. I feel like there's a very safe bot lane, again, another safe mid laner, and then that Camille in the top lane seems like a very viable ganking opportunity, especially against that Gwen, who could potentially even take the Ignite. Will have a lot of trouble avoiding the Hextech Ultimatum and the Pillar of Ice. It'll be interesting to see the Pillar of Ice, how it affects the Hallowed Mist while Gwen is in it. Since the source is Trundle, who is outside, but then it's also terrain that's going to be inside the Hallowed Mist.
That's a really good point. I don't
that's
think I've ever thought of that.
That's an interesting interaction that I suppose we'll see at some stage
I'm
throughout
pretty sure
this.
it works like a Nivea wall. It's just as terrain.
It's physics.
a
So
wall.
Yeah,
okay.
okay. Will the slow still trigger though?
that is what I don't know. The knock-up, I don't think will trigger either. I think it's just the pillar is going to be
Just a
like
wall,
a,
a new
a wall, a barrier kind of that you can't
Yeah.
walk through. You have to path around.
If the knockup doesn't appear, I'd imagine then it would be slowed as well.
Yeah, okay. That'll be relevant for the ganks.
Yeah.
One thing about that matchup though is the Camille, other than her sweep, she doesn't really have a long range ability that can be blocked by the Hallowed Mist. Even her hookshot stun, it's melee range, she'll still be able to land it. So Finicky, I don't imagine Finicky's gonna have the best time. We'll see if he takes that ignite as well for the pressure, as we are waiting now to lock in.
Yeah, what you mentioned about the strong side of Inferior Esports, I feel like that's the weird part, because obviously it's great to have a Jarvan when you have lanes that are very strong, but where do you really want to go? And that's when you're gonna start looking at maybe the best setup, because obviously in the bot lane you have an Amumu, which is fantastic setup, especially in the early game. Then you have in the mid lane, you don't really have setup. In the top lane, you don't really have it either. So perhaps this is kind of they're looking towards the bot lane here. But I also feel like, you don't necessarily have to, as long as the vision control is good on the side of Inferior Esports and they can just, push out these lanes, especially that bot lane. I feel like, Jarvan can definitely just leave them alone and let them just crush this lane. But it's going to be very interesting to see. I honestly don't really know. I feel like this is going to come down to personal preference to these teams, because I don't necessarily see, at least me personally, like a best way or a best lane to go for in this game.
I think the logical decision is get Prico on that Corki to act as a roamer with the packages, with the Valkyries. Try and get Pryo on the Syndra, easier said than done as Corki, of course. And then try and pay a lot of attention to Finicky in that top lane. Maybe try and get counter ganks off against Lucian as he's trying to come in. And then, as you said, just leave Kbex and Bilky in that bot lane to just try and roam free. But whether Lotus allows them to do that, since if Lotus, I think, ever predict the aggression from Inferior Esports, if they ever know where their members are going, I feel like they just win out in the early game. Unless it's... I don't think Draven wins enough hard by himself to turn the early game tides in the favor of Inferior Esports in most team fights.
I think that's fair enough, yeah, and especially in team fights, obviously, right? Because it's a big lane bully. It's like I would say the Renekton of top lane, but that isn't existing anymore because Renekton has completely fallen out of the meta. But what I find really interesting here is, what is Lucian going to be doing here on the Trundle? Because I feel like a lot of eyes are going to be on him to kind of try and stop this onslaught that Infero are going to try and bring to the side of Lotus.
Yeah, I think honestly the problem with the Trundle is it's very easy to lock him down and kite him with two ADCs. Even Finicky will be able to out-sustain him. And one of the problems he'll have is whenever he tries to run forward, he will just die until he has very, very tanky items, as his melee range, he's just gonna get blown up. It's the one problem with the Trundle at the moment, just not actually having a tank to trade against. He does favor fights against tanks. We'll see how he does into the Gwen. It'll be interesting to see if he wins that 1v1 matchup or if he can fare well, as Jarvan is realistically the only opponent that he can favorably match up against. And we'll see. I'm just trying to think about what his actual goal. I suppose he just wants to control the choke points, as the one thing about Inferior Esports is I keep saying Jarvan because I'm never sure how to pronounce his name. SK4 or
I'm guessing Scar? Yeah.
Yes.
Scar, yeah.
So it's going to be Finicky on the top lane, Scar, and then Prisco in the mid lane, Kbex
Prisco.
and Bilke. Yes.
I've been saying Prico like
No, it's Prisco.
like it's an insult.
I call him Prince Green when we are in more casual environments, because it's a lot of fun to trigger him with that, but it's actually Prisco.
Prisco, okay, yeah. Prico would have been...
He's a prick, but he's an O. Yo,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the swag style of a
three of us are
Prickle.
fine now by connecting esports. That's unfortunate here.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're with the CEO, so maybe we'll get we'll get a free pass away. But
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of the, yeah, I also don't really know what the Toronto is going to do, honestly. It feels like, that's why I asked you the question, right? Because it feels like there isn't a very clear path for them to play this game other than maybe, just farm up. But if you do that, then the pressure of the Jarvan and the fact that all these lanes are very aggressive on the side of Inferno Esports could just become too much for the side of Lotus. And well, if we know one thing, Lotus, they cannot lose this game. Do not forget, everyone in the chat, because if Lotus lose this first game, their playoffs hopes are completely finished. They need to completely win every single game in this series. Whereas in Feral, all they need is a singular win, and they have already secured themselves the spot in the playoffs. So huge match, very, very big. So I feel like this early game is going to be extremely vital for Inferno. But the question is, are we going to see a possible invade? Because they do have the Amumu, of course.
Yeah, the Amumu and the Draven, really strong level 1 with the axes and the bandage toss. But that being said, it is into a trundle with that champ. That AD loss this early on really hurts you, as well as the thresh hook. I feel like neither team can afford to be the aggressor. If they step into the wrong bush, someone's gonna get locked down and CC'd. As we see, I think it's Dapo, the Lotus Esports ADC is not connected, so we will just be waiting on that pause. One thing to bring up is that quirky cleanse barrier start with that unsealed spellbook. It's really interesting.
Wow.
I don't like the cleanse at all. I feel like it leaves him very vulnerable to stun from Syndra into the ice pillar from Trundle, which cannot be cleansed, as he will have no way of escaping without a flash. He's got to wait, what is it, 6 minutes, I think, from game start to get his first spellbook, as we do hit that delayed pause, as it looks like Lotus Esports are going to be looking for an invade in that top lane.
Yeah, they are walking over to that side, and Finicky is there though. Should be ready, should be able to see them. But yeah, that's interesting. I've never seen this on a Corki before, and it seems a little bit like overkill, but we might see the invade here. Finicky has seen it. Moto going in with that hook shot, but not even getting close, and that might just ruin his 1v1 matchup in the early game, as Finicky has to be a little bit careful here. The wards are there, however, so Prisco knows what is going on. But actually, well, the side of Lotus Crystal, they do not decide against this. They really want to make something happen, but because of all those wards, yeah, they're just going to place, well, 2 wards down, unfortunately, but walk away out of the jungle safely, and yeah, they get themselves a ward, but not really much else from that.
Yeah, I feel like trying to invade on Finicky like that, Gwen is actually one of the hardest champions to level 1. Even with hooks, she can actually level her Hollowed Mist. It's not ideal. She wants the E, I think is it Snip, and I think the aura is Needlework. I always mix the two up. But she can actually just panic level the Hallowed Mist to avoid any individual CCs that might come out. So Gwen's not typically where you want to put those resources to, and then they double stack the wards, as you said, which could be relevant later. No ward for Motto in that top lane, and Scar is starting the bot side. He will be looking for some early ganks though.
Yeah, he actually is removing this ward, and look at Lucian instantly making use of this and going towards the blue buff. And of course, Scar, because of the warding that they have, they know, hey, we're going to just trade blue buffs here, so we could have an interesting composition going here between these junglers, because we might see a possible mid lane gank, of course, but look at Bin Falafel. He might try and interrupt this, and we could see an early game fight, but he's just going to ward and go back to ward this lane.
Yeah, it's a good thing Lotus, they just wanted to confirm, I think, that blue buff is going over, just to make sure, just so they knew the timers, as this is actually really dodgy for Finicky. He's pushing in slightly. He knows Lucian is up in the top side. They are going to see Scar once again clear those wolves for Lotus Crystal, as yeah, this is just a really interesting map split, as we see now Lucian making his way mid. No flash.
Yeah, there is no flash indeed, but there is, of course, a Valkyrie. He's going to fly away. That is going to be enough. I don't know why the camera did not even at all pan to that. That's because of the fight in the top lane, but nothing really coming from that either. But look at Scar. He does see Lucian. We might see a fight between these junglers. I don't know if this is fair for the Jarvan. Actually going to walk past right there. Doesn't even go towards the bush, and Lucian might be in trouble because Amumu is here. That is a stun. But a beautiful, beautiful plan is actually going to save him for now, as rank 5 Fox gets stunned up as well. And Prisco actually is the one who has to be careful here. But a bit back and forth, not really much burnt, except for the flash here, of course, on that Trundle.
Yeah, that was a really good bush camp by Scar. He knew he needed to wait for Bilge to make his way further into the jungle, since Lucian does win that individual 1v1. The AD loss from Chomp is so significant, especially at early levels when you're an AD champion like that Jarvan is. So really good patience to wait, and then as Lucian was escaping, use the shield to slow him down. Wait for the flag and drag as well. Really good patience by Scar, and a really good burn, flash burn by Scar and on that Lucian as he's making his way top now.
Yeah, Finicky should be fine. In fact, it's actually going to trade back to Lucian. Lucian might have to be a little bit careful here. Look at the damage back from Finicky, but it's not going to be enough. It is going to be enough in the end, though. But his first blood to Lucian, but a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, really interesting that Finicky decided to E back into the fight against Lucian. He knew the pillar was still up. Lucian hadn't used it in the previous part of the engagement, so a bit questionable by Finicky. Maybe he really thought he could win that level 1 as rank 5 Fox. Just gonna...
Prisco has to be a little bit careful. And look at that damage from Finicky. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. Has the blasting wand and almost half HP on Moto immediately. In fact, he has to be a little bit careful now.
Yeah, Motto TPing into that and not respecting that the blasting wand. So much damage from Finicky as Lucian also going to pay a visit into Scar. Oh, and Motto cancelled his back. I think he needed to get that back off. He's so low in HP. He had to pop his pots as well. Yeah, very unfortunate. I'm not a fan of that play from Lucian, just stopping Motto's back. He's just going to lose some XP and CS. It is going to be slowly pushing into him, but it's still a net loss overall as we keep hitting lulls now. It was a very interesting early game, but not a super exciting one, bar that top lane fight. That being said, even with the first blood going over to Lotus Crystal on Lucian, it is a 700 gold lead thanks to mainly that CS in the top and jungle.
But we have to say that a slow early game like this favors Lotus Crystal, of course, right? Because maybe, you know, the scaling isn't that huge in difference because there is obviously also a Gwen on the opposing side and that Corki. But I feel like it is Inferno who really have to make those early game plays and really get themselves a strong lead. And they're trying to do such, getting this dragon up for them right now.
Yeah, that's one thing to be said for the team comp is bar Scar, whose in-game range is a lot further than the rest of his team. He's going to have a bit of trouble for his team to follow up on him, especially with Lucian and rank 5 Fox with their point control that they'll have on that Syndra and Trundle, and honestly even Falafel on that Thresh. Going to have a lot of point control, so if they keep getting control, or if they start to get control of the Drakes and the Rivers, as we see a gank now.
Oh, the flash is there from Bilka, and an instant one-shot there by K-Bex, and that is a kill on the Draven.
Yeah, Falafel had that flash burned earlier. Actually, not sure where it was ended up being burned, if it was in that fight in the jungle. But a really good, easy gank for Inferno Esports. But Bilke just flashing, bandage tossing, making sure Falafel cannot get anywhere. And we see the ease with which Inferno Esports can make use of that Amumu and Jarvan to lock down just about any individual they want if they on the side of Lotus if they catch them out. As Lucian gonna fight Finicky once again.
Yeah, we're going to see the 1v1 again. However, Moto is here now as well to try and stop the situation. And Needlework is doing some damage, but is it going to be enough is the question. No, it is not. Moto will take down Finicky.
Again, Finicky being over aggressive on Lucian. I think he's just not respecting the Trundle damage. Oh,
good hook
no
here on
flash.
Bilka though. And yeah, he has no flash, just using the engage in the bot lane. Is going to die as well. And now there is a 2-0 Camille on the side of Lotus Crystal. And that could be some trouble for Inferno Esports.
Yeah, Finicky had to tried to use the ignite on Lucian there in that fight. Overall, really good pickup by Inferno Esports. Just a little mistake from Bilky, maybe trying to save Finicky in that top lane. I think that's one of the reasons why Finicky tried to go aggressive, as Scar loses out the blue buff to the smite from Lucian.
No, I think he actually won it. I think he won that smite. Yeah, I don't think Lucian has blue buff. Yep.
Oh, he did.
He actually got it.
To me, in my eyes, Scar wasn't even over the wall when the blue
Yeah,
buff died.
it didn't feel like he should have been in range, but I guess he
No.
just was in range. So yeah, Lucian missing out on that blue buff. So a failed invade. That's actually quite important because you can look at, if we look a little bit at the farm differences, Scar is actually in a good state here, of course. Sure, Lucian has that kill that he got from the top lane trade, but you know, Scar has been farming up quite well.
Yeah, and I would have liked to see a little more aggression from Scar. He's done a bit of invades, but actual ganks, other than that very easy setup by Bilge and Kbex in that bot lane, he hasn't really accomplished much in this early game. Honestly, the early game ganking we've seen has been from Lucian making his way everywhere, with particularly with the pillars and the counter invades and counter ganks, as we see now Kbex get the TP behind him.
Yeah, but he's just going to be able to walk away safely. So that is, you know, a big cooldown here on rank 5 Foxes. Now, Briscoe might be in trouble. Has to use that box there to just get away. And that is also not very good. So kind of, you know, things being traded between these two teams. But it looks like Lucian wants a bit more of Briscoe. Of course, knows there is no flash. Valkyrie is still up, though. Is going to be able to get away. However, Scar is in the vicinity right now. That is a cleanse. And here comes the Cataclysm. Is it going to be enough damage to kill Lucian? Yes, it will be. Briscoe will pick that one up.
Yeah, once the package was burned by sorry, I almost said Prico again. By the Corki. As by Lucian, I'm not really sure why he stayed for the invade. He must have known.
Yeah, Bin Falafel was not ready for that at all. This could be a trade back up by rank 5 Fox. Bilge just gets blown up by the unleashed power, so it ends up being a 1-for-1.
Just random fight after random fight, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't even say these are planned. These are just finding someone being like, oh, I guess I'll try and kill you. As yeah, that all started from the Raptor invade. Not sure why Falafel and Lucian decided to stay for trying to take away the camp, and then managing to let Scar and Bilge get up and get the counter fight off, back up their mid laner. They were able to get that kill, burn both flashes, and then Falafel just didn't realize that the sweeper was on him. I think he had swept himself over the wall, so he knew he wasn't on a ward, but just didn't appreciate the fact that the sweeper caught him out. And because both Scar and Bilge were in that bush, it just meant he was immediately locked down and CC'd. Really good counter pickup then by rank 5 Fox. We see the one weakness of that support Amumu has the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, no more to speak of, has been roaming quite a bit, is only level 5, whereas both ADCs are level 8. Even Falafel is level 6, as he hasn't really been much in lane in the past minute or two. As the Rift Herald was taken by the side of Inferral Esports, dropped mid to funnel that Corki a bit more gold, and they will also use that pressure to transition to Drake.
Yeah, actually, very nicely played here by the side of Inferral Esports. They get loads of plays on that Corki. The second Drake has been picked up, and it's going to be an Infernal Soul. Well, very fitting for their team's name, of course. That could be very, very big, of course, because I was going to say, sure, Amumu is level 5 right now. This might be a potential time for Lotus Crystal to look for a fight. However, they just really didn't get the chance, and the Inferral Esports are just too quick right now. As Briscoe in trouble, but the barrier is going to keep him alive. And yeah, you can see how this mid lane, it is definitely trouble for him. And well, the barrier and cleanse so far worked out, but not having that flash, especially in the late game, I'll still have to see whether that is going to be worth it. But of course, you do have the book, so you will, you know, you can potentially get it, but it's still very interesting to me.
Yeah, even with the unsealed spellbook, I think that's effectively. What, don't you have to wait? I think, is it 4 spells before you can transition back?
Something like that. Oh, no, in the bot lane, there could be trouble on Bin Falafel. There's still no level 6 though on Bilge, so we can't lock him up for longer, which means they are going to have to back off. I think there could have been a kill if he would have had that ultimate, but not going to be ready for now. So Bilge is just going to try and remove some wards here. Yeah, loads of aggression on the side of Inferral Esports, especially on this bot lane, but they just cannot really find much, or at least not as much as we would have hoped for them to find. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this late game is going to go, because so far it's pretty even between both these teams, which is very fitting, of course. But as we talked about as well, it's so messy. And I feel like that is exactly what we expected from these teams. As once again, he goes in now, and there is the ultimate. That's going to be surely enough damage as Prisco will pick it up this time.
Yeah, that right there is what Bilge and Cabex wanted to happen. And Doppo, he hasn't been clearing the wave.
Yep, but that is going to be death. Doppo didn't clear the wave, but he did clear the support, and in fact, he might clear two now.
Oh
He's
my
going to
God.
turn on Kibix as well. It's 2 kills for Doppo, but Kbex picks up the return kills. Now, Moto is looking for Scar as well. It could be disaster here for Inferral Esports. I don't think the Jarvan is going to get away. The hookshot is going to follow him up. Scardo with the flash is going to be able to just barely escape, but Inferral Esports, that was a bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, looking at the replay now, you skipped it there, but that was Falafel getting caught. Then Bilge again, so squishy. And Doppo, as well as he played it, he didn't need to walk forward there. He had the route on Kbex. He could have left, and it actually would have been a clean 2-0. Then Scar getting punished by Motto as well. Just bad to worse for Inferral Esports, as yeah, they just completely misjuggled the turret aggro, and it meant 2 of their members went down. And everything went pear-shaped from there. Motto was able to TP as well because of it. Wouldn't have been able to otherwise, as yeah, Finicky then let alone in the top side did get a bit of a CS lead from it, but the kill, or sorry, it wasn't actually a kill. Motto didn't even get the TP or the kill for it, as no flash even on that Camille meant Scar could get away. As yeah, what we saw happen there on Falafel when Bilge hit that bandage toss over the wall, Bilge's been actually reading Falafel really well the past throughout the game. We've seen Falafel constantly use the lantern to check that bush rather than fight for control, and that's why the initial fight happened where Bilge didn't have the ultimate, as he predicted Falafel would do that, immediately put the bandage toss once the lantern came out, and was able to lock him down. So I feel like if Bilge was able to communicate that a lot better with Scar, there would have been a lot more early ganks and kills for the side of Inferral Esports, as both teams now looking towards this Herald.
Yeah, this could be the first big fight of the game. The teleport is coming in here from, I think that is Prisco. And it looks like the side of Lotus, they want to fight it, but I don't know if they can, as Kbex now has been called out on the mid lane. Is he going to die? That's the question. We're going to be looking at the bigger fight for now, as Finicky is using that W for so much damage. Here comes the engage. There's so much damage. The curse of the Stab is huge, and they just don't have the damage to turn it around. In fact, though, it's a shutdown here for rank 5 Fox. Doppo is in trouble. Double kill for Finicky, and Lotus Crystal just did not have the damage to return fight this.
Yeah, that was pretty big ultimates. We missed the initial engage from the fight as we panned over to Kbex versus Motto, which did not result in a kill, which is insane. But we saw pretty big Curse of the Sad Money and even a Cataclysm from Scar doing incredible work, as a key element was Kbex not being in that fight, as Prisco doesn't have a finished mythic, has a Muir mana, but hasn't not transformed it into the Manamune quite yet, so is a lot weaker in comparison. And there was also the mythic missing even for rank 5X, who just finished that Ludens, opted into the Sork trades earlier rather than and the tiers, so didn't actually finish that Ludens, as Lotus Crystal trying to sneak away this Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Prisco might be in trouble once again in the backline. It's Camille versus one of the AD carries, and now, yeah, they're trying to sneak the Dragon, but it looks to be going towards Inferral Esports, who are going to get themselves the 3rd Dragon of the game and set themselves up for the Dragon Soul, plus a mid tower to boot. And slowly but surely, the hopes are falling apart for Lotus Crystal, especially when Doppo gets caught out just like that. Kbex will pick that one up, but they will get the return kill on the support. But however, that means this mid lane is probably going to be pushed down even further. And Inferral Esports are really, really starting to press on the side of Lotus Crystal.
Yeah, just a super delay on... Oh, really good Hollowed Mist. I think Inferral Esports, they'll get the inhib turret. Herald might crash, but they don't... Yeah, they're going to opt out. Opting not to take that inhibitor just yet, but... Very disjointed call from Lotus Crystal. 2 members, Lucian and Falafel, trying to sneak that Drake. Rank 5 Fox, who is in base, opted to walk towards the Drake pit despite having TP. I'm assuming that's not a spectator bug. I honestly have no idea why Rank 5 Fox did not TP to that Drake, as yes, they were missing one or two ultimates, but it is the third Drake of the game. They really couldn't afford to just let it go as easy as they did. And Dapo then getting picked out as they were trying to retreat from the Drake. They didn't even exit the area together to make sure that no picks like that could happen. And it resulted in the Drake, the kill, and 2 turrets going over towards Inferral Esports. And now open inhibitor in the mid lane. It's not the worst place to have an open inhibitor. If the inhibitor ever does fall, you'll always have a member to clear mid lane. So it's not as if it was the bot turret or the bot inhibitor where you have to spend TPs to defend it. As Lotus Crystal, they're just grouping up to defend Dapo in this top lane, but they could potentially be caught out by Bilke again.
Yep, there is a stun curse, so the Sap Mummy is ready. Can he find it though? That is the question. Bilkis is doing so much damage. Falafel is stunned up once again, and Kbex is on a killing spree, and it just feels like Lotus Crystal, they are all over the place. First at the Dragon, they weren't really on the same page. As you said, right, the teleport did not come in. It's like either you completely go for it, or you just completely don't go for it. You cannot be, doing two things at the same time at this stage of the game. And well, now that Bin Falafel has been called out for the 5th time in this game, it's just starting to slowly fall apart for Lotus Crystal.
Yeah, and I think one of the key factors is them just not respecting the collapse potential from Inferral Esports. We've seen it quite a few times, particularly between Falafel and Lucian. We saw it way back in that Raptor fight where Scar and Bilke were able to collapse on them. Then we saw it in the Drake fight, and now we've just seen it again as they were trying to clear the wards.
Bin Falafel once again called out, does interrupt the Jarvan, but is going to face his life again. It's the 6th death, and just in a row as well, the top lane turrets are going to fall, and I don't really know what's going on, but Lotus Crystal, they're going to have to try and get themselves together, or their playoffs hopes are gone.
Yeah, Falafel heard me speaking and said, I'm going to prove your point, as he literally just walked into Bilke again, and again, the rest of Lotus Crystal was not there. Lucian is farming bot side, Motto is in the bot lane, rank 5 Fox is in the mid lane. It was just Falafel and Dapo, and Inferral Esports hadn't backed. They didn't have any reason to back. They were barely just on the map to begin with. They hadn't racked up gold or items they needed to buy quite yet, as they just did now after that final pick on Falafel, as the fights happened so quickly that they just didn't have time to stack up golds or needs to back, as only now the second items are coming in for the member in Inferral Esports, but that's so massive because it's just in time for this Drake, whereas Lotus Crystal will not have those second items finished. Rank 5 Fox, double needlessly large rods, but isn't going to quite get to that Rabadon's death cap, unless we'll see how close he is if we can convert
500
C2
gold left. I don't think he's going to make it.
No, has 40 seconds, is farming top lane, and that turret isn't close enough. I don't think rank 5 Fox is going to get it. Does have the TP, but then we see the LDR coming out for Kbex, as well as an extra serrated Dirk. Even the it's not called Mower of Malmortius. How have I forgotten the name of the magic resist item quirk he has? Hex Drinker, my apologies. I got there. As Bilke might actually be the one getting caught out.
Might be called out, but I think his team is there in time. That's going to be a 1-for-1, but it's the top lane, the dead of the side of Lotus Crystal, and this could be big. Cataclysm is huge, the damage is even bigger. Kbex with the whirling death of destruction, and now it is Prisco getting even more as rank 5 Fox is trying to stop him. Is he going to be able to do so with the unleashed power? He does not have it ready anymore. Rank 5 Fox might actually be in a little bit of trouble. He still has the cleanse for Prisco, but oh, a massive missile, just doing so much damage. Just bringing it up into the ace for Inferral Esports.
Yeah, and at this stage, it was just Inferral Esports being so far ahead, and I think a key factor was that second items being in the pocket of everyone. And the Abyssal Mask was actually Bilke's first item, so enhancing the magic damage of everyone on his team, which is really crucial with the Corki and the Gwen, as Inferral going to take that Baron for free. But yeah, so Lotus initially really good trying to catch out, as Prisco messed up the Valkyrie as well. That is unfortunate.
If only
Um,
you had Flash.
if only he had flash, which he did. He actually had it. He used it in the previous fight. That was something I was going to bring up before everyone just started fighting. Prisco had the package and the flash ready to go. So it was really unfortunate for Lotus that they chose to fight that Fort Drake when everything was in the favor of Fairly Sports. Prisco had everything ready to go. Maybe didn't have the mythic finish, but did have the flash and the package. We saw what happened there. Even with Bilge caught out, the rest of the team with Scar were just able to follow up. Prisco with that package is able to follow in the Cataclysm as Dapo caught out Lantern.
Yeah, it's just in a lot of trouble. He might die to the Revenant. Yes, he will. Doppo just gets absolutely destroyed by Scar, and the Lantern wasn't even there to save him.
I have no idea why Falafel didn't use the lantern there. He must have used it to check a brush or had used it just previously, but either way, that means Dapo cannot afford to walk up to the wave in that case. And we see why. Scar just jumping in, Cataclysm Dapo down. You just can't get anywhere as this Jarvan now 2-0-14 with a perfect KDA and 16 out of 17.
No. And now
Oh.
Moto. Just the rampage here for Finicky. I mean, if Fero Esports are dismantling this out of Lotus Crystal now, in fact, they are looking for a potential fight. Perhaps this is one they can take because the number advantage is there for now. Prisco is trying to Valkyrie away, will be able to make it, but look at the mid lane. Their inhibitors are being pushed down now, and it's just Lotus Crystal. I don't think they can keep up.
Yeah, and again, this is the disjointedness of Lotus Crystal. They have no idea where to answer, where they need to be. It's just Kbex and Bilge with those Baron buffs, but we see Lucian just being blown up, and this is in their base.
Yeah, they're being absolutely destroyed. The first Nexus turret has fallen, and they are now looking for the bot side inhibitor. The top lane is the only one still standing to really make this a complete death here for the side of Lotus Crystal. But they have to fight, and this could be the way. Kbex just in case just managed to survive at the end, and that could be all that she wrote for Lotus Crystal. The Cataclysm is huge, but the damage is not there right now. Finicky is trading some back. It's a double kill for Brisky. Can he fight more? He will find the triple kill. It is huge for Infero Esports. Lotus Crystal's dreams for the playoffs are finished. Infero Esports get themselves the first win on the board.
Yeah, just an exciting ending to that game as Infernal Esports starting that base fight off with just not really an engagement. They were just doing damage. They were just getting auto attacks, getting individual abilities onto Lotus Crystal. But at this stage, that was just so much damage for anyone for Lotus Crystal to take, as even Lucian, who actually Lucian's not even tanky, has the Divine Sunder rather than anything else, so was just able to get melted by the side of Inferal. As we look at the damage now, Scar with an impressive KDA of 3-0-17 had 20 out of 22 kills and assists participated in throughout this game. Despite a very weak early game, very impressive second half of the game, I feel like that what happened in the mid game is what I expected to happen in the early game. Bilge and Scar running around together, just stacking the Curse of the Sad Mummy as well as the Cataclysm onto everything and just constantly catching people out from the side of Lotus Crystal.
Yeah, Lotus Crystal needed some more vision, something to really get themselves out of these situations because they got caught left and right. And that is going to bring us, though, to the votes, guys. Who do you think was the MVP of this game? Of course, that is for the winning team. Vote 1 for the top laner, up until 5 for the support in the chat. I mean, to me, Xenalot, you even mentioned, of course, I feel like it has to be Scar. Yes, Bilge had a fantastic match, of course, on the Samuma as well, and set up a lot of these kills as well. But 20 kills participated here by Scar out of the 22. I feel like that alone already deserves the recognition.
Honestly, my pick is actually Bilge. I feel like those 6 deaths from Bilge could easily have been Scar. The key difference was that Bilge was always the first to go in. I feel like a lot of the fights, the Curse of the Sad Mummy came out, then the Cataclysm to follow out. It's still impressive that he was able to go deathless. I just feel like that some of those that he would have experienced at least 1 or 2 more deaths if Bilge hadn't been just so aggressive at times. And we saw him even way back in that early bot lane gank with that flash bandage toss right on to Falafel. Once he was missing that flash to start off the roll of kills we got then after that from the bot lane. And yeah, we saw it, Bilge being level 5s in that fight as well. It was just because he was roaming constantly. He did get caught out once or twice and it was a bit slow to react to some of the ganks, especially early on from Lucian in that top lane to Finicky, where he hung around in the top lane for about 2 or 3 minutes but wasn't able to accomplish much. But we got there in the end, especially into that 10, once we got past that 10, 11, 12 minute mark. Bilge and Scar were just all over the map with that combo, locking down everyone and just taking every fight they wanted, and made Lucian in particular's life a living hell. He was not able to play jungle. He was not able to get any ganks off past that 10, 11 minute mark. And we saw the damage as well, just less damage on Lucian with that Divine Sunder and that Phage compared to Bilge with that Abyssal Mask.
Yeah, it really was a show of the supportive roles here in the jungle and the support. Great plays here by Inferno Esports. They managed to lock themselves into the playoffs. But of course, it is a series. It is not all over yet. And I feel like we have to look a little bit here at Lotus Crystal because you don't want to go off with a 2-0 loss, right? I feel like they definitely fought their hardest here. But the problem was that Inferno Esports just seemed to be more, a team in this game. It really felt like there was too many catches happening and maybe too little playing around vision for the side of Lotus Crystal. What do we hope to see from them in order to beat the side of Inferno Esports in the second game?
Well, I think, irregardless of picks, I honestly, the Mumu and the Jarvan was a strong combo, but there's a lot of things that can accomplish something similar. I don't really think it was even the picks for the side of Lotus. It was more so their team play. We brought it up several times that everything they did just seemed disjointed. It was like they were in voice comms, someone was making the call, but not everyone agreed to it. And what happened was 3 members went to go do the call, and then 2 members who disagreed with it were almost like, I'm not a fan of doing this, but I will help because it's a team call. But that delay, that's almost what it felt like. I'm not saying what it is. It's just, that's the kind of disjointedness it felt whenever we were watching them, particularly towards that Drake fight where rank 5 just had that TP the whole time. And it was only Lucian and Falafel were on it. Not even sure where the Jhin and the Camille were in that fight. And everything spiraled, especially from that Drake fight. And we saw it again when they were retreating, they were going in different directions. We saw again every time Falafel was getting caught out by Bilge that it was just him defending his Jhin, and the rest of the team, other than sometimes Lucian was at them. But I feel like the Camille and the Syndra were almost nowhere to be seen throughout a lot of what should have been team plays. And I'd rather lose as a team than lose as individuals, like I feel like Lotus Crystal just did.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I feel like for me, the biggest moment, because it was a relatively even game throughout the early game, I feel like the biggest moment for me was that one dragon fight, right? The third dragon, that really just shook out the game. And it felt like it just shook the entirety of Lotus Crystal, because it all started at the fact that their strongest member, the Syndra, rank 5 Fox, was not there. He wasn't ready for that fight, and could have been, of course, with the teleport, decided against it. And when you as a team decide against going for a teleport like that, I feel like you've already made a decision that you do not want to fight for it, or at least, not going to go in full force, because, you have to be there on time. You have to set up the vision beforehand if you really want to try and challenge something against the team who is ahead of you. So it just, as you said, it felt very disjointed. And I feel like it's not necessarily something that you can easily fix within one game, but it could also be something, of course, that happens just in this particular game. And maybe Lotus Crystal have got this covered, but this might have just been an off day. And it's obviously the most unfortunate timing ever to have an off day, or rather an off game, because everything resided on this game, right? This was the game to win. This was the game that could get them into the possible playoffs. Really unfortunate that they ended up losing it, but hopefully they can kind of give themselves some more confidence to maybe get back into the winter split.
Yeah, I just feel like whatever call they make, it just has to be in unison and has to have been
Yeah.
followed through by everyone. That's all I ask from Lotus at the moment. That irregardless of team comp, irregardless if it's team fighting or split pushing, just everyone follow through. Everyone be there when you need to be there. The 30 seconds before Drake. It's that these are very simple tips that you can follow in solo queue and team play, and everyone should be doing them all the time. It's when a Drake is 1 minute, you should be prepping for it. You should be either have your back off or on your way there. You should be there to help, even if you're not the support or the jungler, you should be helping to maintain vision, getting priority in the lanes. You should be there unless you're planning to TP, but you need to do it as a team together.
And we'll see if Lotus Crystal are going to be able to do that, because that is exactly what Inferno Esports were able to do. We are going to get ourselves into the draft right now. Lotus Crystal this time around will be playing on the blue side, so perhaps a first pick can turn the tides around for them. But we already kind of decided to talked about how that is not really the most important part here. It is mainly their team play. The bans so far seem to be relatively the same, except for this Gwen and the Syndra now being taken away by Lotus Crystal and Inferno Winning Esports. I just realized that name. Inferno Esports, respectively. So interesting to see what is Lotus Crystal going to first pick here. The hovering the Nocturne, we haven't seen that in a while, and it's going to be picked.
Okay, all right.
Lord.
I don't think this is going to be a typical game straight off the bat, as the Heimerdinger are going to be taken away. I wonder if it's going to be Heimerdinger set bot lane. I'd actually leave bot lane. I'm not even a bot laner. I would refuse to lane against a set Heimerdinger, because I'm either going to get pulled in and dealt 1,000 true damage, or I'm not going to be able to allow to CS. If I were the side of Lotus Crystal. That being said, I'm surprised Lotus Crystal banned the Gwen rather than the Amumu. I figured that the Amumu was probably the biggest problem. It enabled the Jarvan as well, who was in and of itself a problem. Whether you argue whoever was MVP, I think Bilke enabled it more so than anything else, so that Amumu was, I think, the key threat. But that being said, I don't think it'll be super relevant for the side from Feral, as Lotus, they might just go super safe on everyone just so they can try and avoid the Heimerdinger. And yay!
Yes, they've done it. I have to give the respect over to Inferno Esports. We get the Riven. I don't even know if they have a Riven player in the team. I do know that Finicky, of course, likes to play those kind of aggressive top lane champions. So I'm very excited to see this. Let's go. I mean, we talked about it, right? There is nothing really on the line for these teams anymore. Just more so respect. And sure, you can go for one of these games where you just have fun and play whatever you feel like playing. We see the Heimerdinger set and the Riven. I am personally extremely excited for this, even though there's not really much on the line, as we do see the next bans coming out. Thresh going to be taken away by Inferno, and they're hovering the Yuumi now for Lotus Crystal. I don't know if they would really want to ban that out rather than take it themselves, but yeah, it's going to be the Draven, and yeah, really now being taken away as well for Inferno Esports. But wow, this is going to be an interesting game for sure.
And the biggest disappointment so far is that they didn't spell out anything with bans. I was trying to see, but I don't think they have.
Oh yeah,
I feel like that's always a super missed opportunity whenever you decide to do these troll pick bans. But they're actually super serious bans from both sides. I feel like even the Thresh and Aurelia are quite serious, which is very odd, particularly from Inferno, who are going less typical with their picks. I'm not even going to try and figure out where everyone's going. I think it's Heimer set bot, and then solo lanes Riven Akshan as the Brown taken for the side of Lotus. We're not even talking about the picks that much. We're just so enjoying
pointless. Yeah, I was gonna say, because I really feel like they're like, normally, you know, we tend to think about, okay, you know, what is the meaning of these comps? Why are they picking certain champions? But right now, I genuinely feel like they're picking whatever they want to play. Like, I don't think there is much of a plan here going here for both these teams. It seemed more so that Lotus Crystal have the relatively more serious draft, but then again, they did first pick that Nocturne, which a few patches ago was a really good first pick, of course. Nowadays, we don't really see it at all anymore, but it is going to be Camille picked up, which means the Nocturne is not going to be on the solo lane, going to go over to that jungle. So at least Lotus Crystal, we know where everyone is going. Question is that going to be the case as well for Inferno Esports? I feel like it's going to depend on this last pick.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be jungle, so it should be
Yeah.
an AP jungler, hopefully, if you want to resemble any kind of team.
Okay, now we need a break here for a second. So,
AP Heimer jungle? Is that a
it
thing? Can
is
Heimer
it
jungle?
that, or is it a Riven jungle, or is it very
Oh,
old
it's a
school?
Riven
Is it
jungle.
a set jungle though? Set is also not necessarily a terrible jungle pick, but yeah, it could be the Riven jungle. Yeah,
I
my
think it's
goodness me.
Riven jungle with. I have to say a Shan bot. I don't think you put Heimer with the
Yeah, I
Yuumi
think at
bot.
this point, yeah.
I think it's Riven jungle and then solo lane Heimerdinger and Set, which isn't even that much of a for fun comp. It doesn't really gel well together, I don't think. I have to think about it now just in case, because these are roles that the champions can actually play if it wasn't like Heimerdinger bot. I mean, honestly, the key thing is that Heimerdinger being the outlier. If it wasn't for that, I would be thinking more in depth about what can this comp accomplish, as we will see now when we go into Pigman where everything is actually going. It's very cookie cutter from the side of Lotus Crystal, whereas Inferno gonna enjoy the game a little bit more.
Finicky did at me. So maybe that means that it's going to be a Riven top. No, in fact, it could be an Akshan top, unless they obviously lane switch here. But if that is not the case, I don't know why you would put an Akshan top against the Camille. Sure, like in maybe the very early stage, you'll have it fine. But I think Camille will be happy with laning against an ADC like that, maybe. But okay, I mean, I don't even know at this point. I genuinely don't know if it's going to be a lane swap. I need to ask Jason real quick. I'm pretty sure, is it allowed to lane swap, like, for example, Prisco now picking Riven, him going top? Is that allowed? I think that is allowed,
That
right?
is allowed, correct. Your solo lanes
Yes.
are allowed to swap. However, your AD carry and your support cannot go to a solo lane and play as solo lane. They can, however, swap as a
Okay.
duo to the top side, and top lane could go to the bot side, like normal
They-
rotations.
They
Right,
can
so
actually
Set
lane swap.
jungle-
Okay.
Yeah,
they can,
so
yeah, they
Set
can lane
jungle
swap
is-
solo lanes because that is not going to affect the game. It's just as if you had a Malphite top into Gwen, you switch him to the mid lane to face the Yasuo. That's okay.
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 So what this could mean is that Finicky, or maybe Prisco, feels more confident on that Riven, therefore goes towards the top lane with Riven. Maybe it will be a Riven mid against the LeBlanc. It's honestly, you know, not the worst matchup for Riven. I've played my fair bit of Riven mid, and yes, obviously you don't really get towards the LeBlanc. That's kind of the problem. But LeBlanc in the early game won't have too much damage to really make the Riven, you know, shake her pants, because she is going to be fine, especially with that shield. You can put some early levels into it, and it will be okay. The only downside is you won't really get a kill from it, most likely, especially not when you have a set in the jungle. I mean, how are you ever going to catch this LeBlanc, right? So I more so expect to see the Riven into the Camille, which is a very even matchup. I think it's slightly favored towards Camille, but it's definitely a skill matchup. Could be very fun to see. But yeah, my lord, it is the Heimerdinger Yuumi bot lane, Zeno.
Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit surprised by that, but I guess with the early Zanya's pickup that Heimerdinger looks to, that Yuumi does get a lot of healing off, especially when you can wait for the cooldowns, as it'll be interesting into the Ezreal Braum, who, particularly that Ezreal, can clear the Heimerdinger turrets rather easily, but I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about Yuumi Heimerdinger bot lane matchups. I'm not going to say I know in depth about these. Even the solo lane Riven, the only thing I really know about is the Akshan. Has one of, you talked about his early game, has one of the scariest level 3s I've ever seen. Can just immediately, I think like at 80% HP, he has lethal kill on you with press the attack and ignite. So if he gets is it a boomerang? I'm not sure what it is. The ricochet, I don't know his abilities quite yet.
Yeah.
With the passive auto attack onto the press the attack with even the grapple shot, he can just immediately burst you down. So Modo, we'll have to respect that in the early game, but later on, I feel like that definitely goes into the favor of Camille. And speaking of the Set jungle, we'll see now how he clears. I feel like Scare should be able to survive just fine with the passive. He'll be quite healthy throughout his clear, but it's just his clear speed is the only thing to be brought into question.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to mention. The clear speed, especially against the Nocturne, who is known to be a very fast jungler, wants to get that level 6 as early as he can. And unless, obviously, Scar gets some ganks off with the set, you're not ever going to out-jungle the Nocturne. So that is going to be very interesting to see how Scar's going to work around that. Yeah, again, it's difficult to talk about these solo lanes, mainly because the fact that they could be switching, right? It could be the Riven versus the Camille. In which case, I do like the ganking opportunities for the top lane. When you have the sets and the Riven, it's very, very easy to set up and gank a Camille, because Riven obviously has multiple ways, just like the sets with the Facebreaker, to interrupt Camille's hookshot in case they need it. So they have 3 abilities that can stop that from happening. So I feel like that is definitely a possibility if they end up going that way. Especially, considering whoever gets ahead in that lane is just going to snowball out of control, because that is how the Riven versus Camille lane kind of works. But I do want to talk a little bit about this bot lane, because I obviously could talk about Riven for literal hours, but we also have to talk a little bit about this bot lane and, what we're going to expect to see here, because it is an Ezreal, which is very safe and can kind of just poke out the turrets of Kbex on the Heimerdinger as well. And I don't really know what a Yuumi is necessarily going to bring to that Heimerdinger lane, because Heimerdinger is not really someone who likes to, especially with the final chapter, wants to really go in. It feels a bit, it honestly feels like it doesn't really work to me. But maybe I'm going to get proven wrong. I have no clue.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is you speed him up so he can buy time for the turrets to do their work and try and avoid the stun from Braum. But that's a very specific matchup specific interaction that, honestly, I feel like the thought process from Bilge and Kbex here is Heimerdinger runs fast and runs around circles while the turrets just hit people, and that's it. Where he just runs away and lets the turrets do the work. He does take the cleanse as well, as we see TP for Prisco in the mid lane, whereas Finicky is going to go for that ignite. Yeah.
That does feel like a Riven top lane to me, to be honest.
Do you think so? Okay.
I think so. Well, yeah. Actually, now without the flash, it could still be Finicky in the top lane. It's a rough one. It's gonna be interesting to see, because I was gonna say, yeah, because we see the resolve second on Riven. That kind of feels like it's gonna be top lane. But yeah, no, you might be right. It's gonna be the Akshan in the top lane anyway. So I was gonna say the resolve also makes sense for the mid lane, because you're gonna get poked out by the LeBlanc. So yeah, it is going to be the Akshan in the top lane. So both top laners have the ignite, and no flash, though, on Camille, as we do see a lot on the Camille nowadays, just like the Gwen, for example. Actually, some people have done it on Riven as well, but that would make no sense to me, especially if you're facing against a LeBlanc. So I'm very, very intrigued how these lanes are going to match up, especially this mid lane, because I don't know how you're ever going to kill this LeBlanc.
As we do hit another pause, I think, as you said, to take the resolve, yeah, I think the only thing Prisco will have going for him is maybe catching rank 5 Fox out as they try and distortion in. I feel like there's no world in where rank 5 Fox ever gets a full chain off on Prisco either, though. So it should be relatively difficult to kill Prisco as well, as long as Prisco gives due respect to the LeBlanc with the electrocution, and when LeBlanc hits level 6 with the copycat of the either Sigil of Malice or the distortion, as with the stun, with the dashes Prisco has, just should never be fully locked down by the chains. As not really sure why the pause is. I don't think it's popped up in chat yet, but we should see a bit of early aggression, I think, particularly in this top side. Camille's tend to opt towards that ignite when they in actually losing matchups rather than winning matchups, because in losing matchups you can burn the flash regularly, whereas with the ignite, if you get the kill early on, it puts the lane in your favor a lot earlier than it usually should. That's why it's the flip of what you think, where the aggressive summoner you take in the losing matchup and the safe one in the even or winning matchup. So that's where the Camille with Ignite comes from, whereas Finicky just wants to kill Motto. That's
Yep.
all that is.
Yeah, he has a pretty straightforward goal here with this Ignite. And well, you talked about the power of the level 3 of the Akshan, so we'll see if he's going to be able to actually execute that. That could be very big. If you get that lead with Akshan, it's going to be very difficult lane for the Camille to get through, because Camille definitely needs some items to really get going. So yeah, that is going to be something interesting. Now, in the jungle matchup, I expect Scar to try and go for loads of ganks. Again, I don't really know how you're going to gank in the mid lane. I feel like the top lane is more viable because there is no flash on that Camille. Still, there is the hook shot, but if you can time the phase breaker, you can possibly stop it, unless it's like max range, because we've seen Camille's who hook shot the wall, get stunned, but then the hook shot hits and they still manage to make all the way over to the wall. That's just how that ability works. So there is still a way for Moto to escape, as the pause has got finished. Apparently there were Discord issues on the side, I think, of Lotus Crystal, but they have now been fixed. So we are going to get ourselves into this game. And yeah, looking at this mid lane, as you said, right, it feels like both these champions are not really going to be able to kill each other. So what I kind of maybe hope to see from Briscoe here is, well, we might see no invade actually. I might have to be quiet for a second, as of course the little bit of lag after a pause comes in. Don't worry, this is going to go over very soon. I'm maybe hoping, especially because you go for that resolve and you will have the tankiness early on, try and push that lane early on. LeBlanc, of course, has a lot of trouble farming underneath the turret very early, and Riven, shouldn't, especially from a level 1, LeBlanc should not be taking too much damage, so you can kind of just push that lane in maybe and get a CS lead that way, and then maybe around level 6 you can be a little bit more aggressive. But we'll see how they're going to play it out, as Bin Falafel already taking quite a bit of damage from the first third placed down by Kbex.
Yeah, and another thing about that mid lane matchup is Prisco should be able to mitigate quite a bit of the damage with the shielding on the E, and especially in the early part when rank 5 Fox will be looking for electrocute for the most of their damage, as a little bit of damage we saw being traded in the bot lane, both Bilgate and Falafel taking a little bit from the Comet and the Airy, and now even Doppo taking a little bit, as both junglers starting on their blue sides respectively, so should expect to see some early ganks from both junglers, as they will be unopposed and they will be able to freely clear their jungles without too much hassle and even get their rift scuttles, as looking Kbex being very aggressive.
Look at that. I mean, the health was very low here from Lotus, but they're trying to trade it back now, and Bilka might be in trouble here, taking so much damage on the Yuumi. They're trading it back to Bin Falafel, but there's no kill just yet. Yes, it will be first blood for Doppo, as in the top lane. Finicky might be in trouble. It's trading back to Moto, flashes in, is going to get themselves that kill, but now Kbex, going a little bit overly aggressive, is probably going to surrender his life, as Doppo takes a lot of damage, is going to get 2 kills. Finicky gets killed as well. It is 3 kills for Lotus Crystal.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. Bilke just not respecting the Braum stun early on, or Braum. I don't know why I'm saying Braum. It's Braum. I think we had this discussion the last time I casted as well. I just instinctively say Braum, but it's Braum. As, yeah, just not respecting it, not able to get back on Kbex because of that early cooldown on the W from Yuumi. So just able to get stunned, which meant Falafel put down that ignite as soon as it went through. And talked about it, both junglers starting their blue sides, but Lucian, instead of actually opting towards his own red side, decided to clear the top side and make use of that level 3 gank towards Finicky, as he was being very aggressive with the lane push. We could see a potential dive as well.
Yeah, I mean, but look at this damage from Finicky right now. Moto in so much trouble, has to hookshot away, but it's kind of a bait. And of course, Finicky knows this, so he's not going to fall for it and walk right into Lucian there. So, well, you talked about the early game damage, and I'm certainly seeing it here right now. That Akshan is incredibly strong.
Yeah, with the press, the attack, and the auto attack passive. As Doppo.
Yeah,
arcane shifts.
Yeah, arcane shifts right into the Yuumi Q, but does not have to surrender his life for it because of the Unbreakable being there right in time just to defend against the damage from Kbex. But yeah, so far the bot lane of Inferno Esports, despite the fact that they lost out on those first kills, still being very oppressive, and it seems to be very difficult to deal with for Lotus Crystal, as once again they're taking so much damage underneath the turret. Yeah, Kbex and Bilka, they are not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, just constant aggression from Kbex and Bilke as okay, never mind. As much as I talked about Prisco never getting chained, manages to get chained.
Oh, my
Oh,
lord, what is happening in this bot lane? It just
Doppo.
feels so close. Yeah, Doppo, once again, this time around, just comes away barely as now Finicky is in trouble, does not have the flash ready. He just used the hook shot as well, so I don't think he's getting out of this one. Lucian now going to get that fear off, and Finicky is dead. Lucian will pick that one up.
Yeah, very easy return gank by Lucian here. No TP as we talked about for Finicky with that ignite and with that early aggression just easily punished by Lucian. Very easy to just walk up, get the fear off, and Finicky even using the grapple, I think it's a grapple hook, whereas I think Camille's is hook shot.
Grapple hook. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
As yeah, I'm actually gonna check it. As once he's used it, he's very. It's heroic swing is the name of it.
Oh.
We're not even close. Not even
Okay.
close.
Well, at least
Um,
that puts a bit of a difference between the two.
As yeah, very easily cut out by Lucian, and despite the early aggression, oh,
Oh yeah,
What's
engage
gonna
it from Moto, gets that Hextech ultimatum off, but now Sky is close. However, look at the team. Here is Lotus Crystal, and they're going to try and turn this around because Bin Falafel has come over to the top lane. Scar is in trouble. He is going to die. Bin Falafel, though, unfortunately, will be picking that one up, but it's a good roam from the support of Lotus Crystal.
yeah, and we should actually see a
Yeah,
further
we are going
dive.
to see a dive, but this might be a little bit overzealous here. A lot of damage being taken by Lotus Crystal, and Briscoe is here to turn things around. That is already a shutdown for Finicky. He might find himself another one. Briscoe with the flash comes in. He's going to find Moto. That is a kill for the Riven as well, and it is a good turnaround from Ephoro Esports.
Yeah, it's deja vu from blue side all over again.
Yeah.
Just like in the last game in that dive by Infernal onto the bot side. This time it's Lotus in towards that top side, just taking way too many turret shots before they actually are in a position to execute the dive. As oh, Falafel actually going to make really good use of the Submerged Spellbook they've picked up with that TP and actually going to be able to get to Doppo just in time. I don't think I actually don't think it was super crucial, mainly because Kbex is out of mana.
Yeah.
So the only thing they needed to fear was Bilke with the Yumikyus followed by an Ignite. And despite all that early aggression from Kbex and Bilke and all that early damage, they are nonetheless down in CS. Doppo has picked up those 2 kills from the earlier fighting. And really the only saving grace from Feral was that scuffed dive from Lotus Crystal on that top side. Otherwise, it's been pretty one-sided so far.
It definitely has been one-sided. Lotus Crystal looking more like a team in this game so far, and it's kind of what we hope to see in their last game, of course. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too late, but maybe they can get a win here, and that would be very nice for them, at least, for their self-esteem, coming into, a possible next tournament, as they will play continuously as a team. As now they will start on this dragon. Should be pretty free here for Lotus Crystal. Looks like Ephoro Esports are not going to fight over this one. So yeah, pretty safe pickup. But in the bot lane, that might be a gank because of course Lucian is level 6.
Yeah, we'll have that ultimate as we see Bilke as well. Friske is still getting caught by the chains, even with the max range dashes. Not really sure. I was convinced Prisco would have been able to avoid the second proc of the chains, but proven wrong as Lucian with that level 6 is just waiting in the bot lane.
Yeah, he's just kind of waiting to go in there. Let's see when they will, because of course we do know Heimerdinger can be scary once he gets that ultimate though. And he does not have that right now as the X-Flash is being channeled, but Bin Falafel is not going to be able to find it. Kbex playing it safe, kind of feeling that something is happening here, but now that rank 5 Fox is there as well, I feel like they really have no way to defend this. Kbex now is actually trying to push out the wave as fast as he can. I really like to see this. Are they going to be able in time to get that level 6 though? That is the big question. I think that is not going to be the case. Here comes the paranoia. The engage is there. The exhaust is there as well. And Lucian is the first one to go actually. Kbex is trying to run away but gets rooted up. Is going to have to trade his life as Bilke is going to try and run away. But with the Brawn pass of the Yuumi, it's not going to go anywhere. As rank 5 Fox with the auto attack will take him down. So it's a 2-for-1 for Lotus Crystal.
Yeah, and both teams knew what was happening. Kbex and Bilke trying desperately to clear that wave. But we see a key weakness of that Yuumi support not having an extra usual support to deal damage to the wave meant they just couldn't quite clear it in time. And then the Arcane Barrage coming out from Doppo to just speed it along meant rank 5 Fox and Lucian with that EVZ dive potential were just very easy to walk into the turret and just immediately take out KX and Bilge, despite Lucian giving his life for it again. It's a bit mess up of the turret aggro from Lotus, as Lucian now fighting over his own blue buff.
Yeah, we could have a fight here. Moto, though, gets hooked up by Scar there. Briscoe is going to go in. That should be an early kill here on the Camille. The Wind Slash has not been used yet, so Briscoe can possibly turn this around. There's the shield. Can he have the damage? That is the Wind Slash coming out. Here's the comeuppance as well, doing a lot of damage. And Lucian is in trouble as well, as Finicky has joined the fray. I don't think with an Ignite that the Nocturne is going to be able to turn that around. Briscoe gets the double kill, and Riven is online.
Yeah, really good follow-up by Finicky there, as that fight breaking out. Lucian was fighting Prisco over his own blue buff and did win the smite fight, but it looked so good for the side of Lotus there at the start, 4-2 up. But Falafel and rank 5 Fox were just, Falafel and Lucian were just, Motto.
In the bot lane, KBX gets blown up, but because of the damage that he was able to return, Bilka will get the shutdown. In fact, it actually went to KBX. That is huge. So it's a 1-for-1 there in the bot lane. And Finicky now might be in trouble. Moto doing a lot of damage. It's going to just have enough to kill Finicky before he gets into the turrets.
Yeah, we talked about how the lane eventually does go in the favor of Motto, even without that Ignite as Prisco.
Yeah, this could be a chase. Does have to flash up very soon. Oh, that is a very, very, very nice W by Moto. But yep, the flash is there. Oh, he misses the third winter. So that could be actually very crucial as Moto should have the hookshot back up. And there he goes. It's going to be able to make it out. But I think Briscoe is able to dive this, of course. It's going to go for it. That's going to once again miss the third Q. And that actually might mean that he will have to surrender his own life. It's a shutdown for Moto.
Yeah, Prisco just kept missing that that final Q for the knockup that isn't just damage, but the knockup as well guarantees the next auto attack, as we see now another fight for over a blue buff. This time Lotus Crystal being the aggressors.
Yep, they are looking much better in this one, as Scar already used that Haymaker. Is going to die for a bit. Look at the damage from Kabus. It's a 3-man stun. Can they turn it around, though? Here is Finicky with some damage as well, but he still needs some time to join the fray. Kabix is trying to buy some time. The health are quite low on the side of Lotus Crystal, but are they low enough? Kabix is dead. It's a rampage for rank 5 Fox, but look at this. Briscoe is in the backline. This could be the Riven's dream. It's going to be one kill for him now. Doppo, though, is going to jump over the turret. Briscoe has the third Q to get back as well. Finicky is going to find another kill. Can they fight more? The Wind Slash is ready. Doppo does not have the Arcane Shift just ready. That is going to be enough damage to take him down. Briscoe takes another one. And Inferral Esports win out on the fight.
Yeah, just fight was so initially in favor of the side of Lotus Crystal. They're just able to catch out Scar and Bilge on the blue buff. Just immediately able to take them out before the fight really started. But then such a massive combo by Kabex. Once he had used his cooldowns, though, he couldn't really follow up with much other damage, as Herald gets popped just before plates fall in about 30 seconds, and Kabex can't afford to be there, man.
Nope. Especially not without Yuumi, and Moto, of course, is 3 levels ahead. That is nothing that you can deal with right now. As now Scar is looking for Bin Falafel. He's just going to jump over towards his teammate and get away there. But we have to talk about this right now, because it is kind of the battle of the mid laners that we have here right now. We have a 6-1-2 Riven and a 4-0-1 LeBlanc. So these two are definitely going to decide how this game is going to go. As Finicky might be in a bit of trouble now. Doppo doing a lot of damage. Here comes the Paranoia. Can he find the range, though? That is the question. Bin Falafel is trying to look for the vision, but Briscoe is nearby, and that might mean Lucian is in trouble. Does not have the flash up. He is going to get absolutely blown up by Scar, who is going to go in with the final chapter. I love to see it. Bin Falafel in a lot of trouble. Briscoe, can he go for the dive? No, he's taking a lot of damage back right now. In fact, this might be a possible kill for rank 5 Fox if he decides to go for it. Here comes the True Shot Barrage. Goes wide, and rank 5 Fox is trying to look for something, but Briscoe and Scar are waiting for the moment. The Wind Slash is ready. Are they going to go for it? There it is. It is doing a lot of damage. Is one kill picked up by Finicky. Can they fight more? Are they going to go for the dive? No, they are not. but it is once again Infero Esports who turn things around. As now, once again, Topo, he tries to find something, but Finicky comes out alive, and Briscoe will take that one up. It is just not working for the Crystals right now.
Yeah, Lotus Crystal, they just spent so much to try and get that pick on Finicky as Kbex is rage splitting.
Yeah,
On
I don't know what is
Heimerdinger.
going on right now. He just pops his ultimate and is not going to be able to have enough damage to kill Lucian, but here comes Scar. I feel like this is one of those games where the Colocaster just does not get to speak, as Scar is on his own against 3. I mean, just gets blown up by Moto, and now I can give you some time to talk.
I mean, I don't have any explanation as to what Kbex and Scare were doing there. Kbex was just in mid lane taking a turret, and then Scare, he saw 3 members of Lotus Crystal. He had seen not only Kbex die, but he'd seen 2 other members, and then just decided to try and fight for the Raptors and take that fight by Raptors. Bit confusing. Prisco now, please give me a second, as Prisco could also be looking for a fight as well, as Falafel, I think, is trying to bait him in, but Kbex and Bilke are now here.
Yep, and they are going to
Mono.
go for the inevitable fight. Lafo actually, yeah, he's baiting, but his team is not on the same page. I mean, we were joking about it a little bit, but now Finicky actually in a lot of trouble. Rank for Fox do so much damage, but look at the damage from the Akshan as well. Finicky is actually going to go in, and he might have the cooldowns ready. It's a shutdown with the smite for Scar, but honestly, yes, we know that Lotus Crystal wasn't really on the same page in the first game, but that was completely out of this world. It's now Kbex once again. I honestly, Xenalot, just have no words for this anymore.
Kbex locked in that Heimerdinger and actually forgot to take the Ghost Cleanse so he could just run it down and play Disco Heimerdinger the whole game. As, yeah, just running in there. And then Motto just saying, yeah, I'm here to back you up, Falafel. Go, 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 Falafel. And then just backing in the bush while Falafel just gets run down. That's one of the saddest sights I've ever seen. Motto just being like, good luck, I'm off. I'll see you next week.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, though. They weren't going to win that, sure. But, like, it just felt so weird that Bin Falafel was baiting that for what seemed like a minute. And then they decide, once Briscoe actually goes in, they ain't got the guy side against it. But now there's going to be a fight here in this mid lane. Once again, it's in the mid lane. Double flashes away. It's going to be enough because the Paranoia is going to kill Finicky. It's a shutdown. And right now, we almost have 40 kills at 70 minutes. And it could actually go towards that as Briscoe now is fighting Moto. Scar is there. I don't know if Moto's going to be able to get out of this one. The Facebreaker is ready. Going to find it right now. Briscoe has popped the Wind Slash. Is it going to be able to get ready right now? That is a knockoff. Wind Slash is there. It's a shutdown for the Riven.
Yeah, and even more gold into this Riven, who I honestly don't know if Prisco is a good Riven. He's just not been inting and been there for every fight after, as Scar. Okay.
Yep, going for the engage. The final chapter is that Lucian is taking a lot of damage as well. Bin Falafel is finally here with the team to back him up for once, but I don't know. Lucian does seem to want to go back in, but I don't know if you're going to be able to get back into this one. I like the fear, though, and the movement by Lucian to just get them out of this sticky situation. But Scar, he's looking for more. He has a Yuumi on his back. He's confident. It's a 2v3 rather. Lucian is trying to turn around. The exhaust has come down on rank 5 Fox, but that is way too much damage for them to deal with. Scar, can he find 1 kill at least before he goes back? They can find 2. In fact, it is the Akshan who comes out of absolutely nowhere. Gets blown up by Moro in the side though, but the teleport has come in for Briscoe. Now rank 5 Fox has to run away, and Moto could be in trouble here as Briscoe is doing so much damage on this Riven hookshot to try and get away. But Briscoe, of course, has the cooldowns to try and chase him down. There is the slowdown from the Yuumi. The thumbs up pretty much means that you are dead, Mr. Moto. He is hookshotting out, and he's trying to get somewhere, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere. That is the Haymaker to finish him off. And yes, there are 42 kills right now in the game.
That fight went from Motto dying in the bot lane to Scar and Bilke fighting in the mid as...
Yep.
Okay, Kbex is dead again.
I'm going to let you talk. Yep.
We spoke about it. He's dead. As that fight went from Motto in the bot lane as... Oh, Doppo.
Well, now Doppo is also in trouble, and I actually think that Briscoe can win this one. That's a very early Wind Slash, though, but it might still be enough. Get stunned up, and it won't be enough. It's a shutdown for rank 5 Fox.
And I think it was crucial there. And another, like, 10th of a second, and Prisco would have had the Gore Drinker back up. With that heal, would have been able to take out Lucian, then maybe even Falafel, as Lucian messed up the blast cone.
Just gets blown up there by Scars. Now Finicky is looking for something here. Wants to possibly go in, but Scar, look at the speed. They are running now. Bin Falafel is probably screaming his life away, but he will be able to get away for now. Scar takes some damage, but will be able to get out safely. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think it's the wind slice that came out too early, as now Moto is here as well. Scar is just complete fighting from both these sides. The final chapter is doing something, but it's a shutdown from Moto. Now Finicky is completely on his own. Is trying to get away, but I don't know how far you're going to get, my friend. Moto misses the hook shot, but doesn't even matter. Finicky just gets blown up, gets stunned. It's another shutdown for the LeBlanc.
I don't know where to start. We've had legitimate straight fighting for about 6 minutes now. We've gone from bot lane to top lane to Drake to back to bot lane again.
I saw it coming. Here it comes again. KX is in the top lane on his own. The paranoia. I just saw Lucian walking up, and I just looked at his little emote, and I saw, oh, paranoia is ready. I know exactly what's going to happen. Another kill over towards Lotus Crystal, and it's a 2-9 Heimerdinger right now.
Yeah, Kbex, I guess he's just enjoying his life right now, as he hasn't picked up even a component for an item, as Prisco actually waiting for Lucian.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I feel like you generally don't get to talk if I would be casting every single minuscule fight that is happening in this game. So I'm basically wasting time right now because there's actually some time for you to talk. But Prisco, once again, catches out the Nocturne, and I feel like this Riven is just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I feel like that's the story of the game for Prisco, as I was alluding to earlier. I don't know if he's a good Riven. He's just always there after the fight, picking up those kills. Oh, Falafel.
Yeah, Falafel now gets stunned up. Moto's there to try and turn the situation around. But there is, once again, the Riven in the right place at the right time. Going to try and turn the things around. But it is going to be Scar dying to Moto. He's very, very strong right now. The healing is huge as well. Kbex almost walking into that ultimate, but gets the shutdown on the LeBlanc, actually. As Prisco might be in trouble. The Gore Drinker is up, however. It's going to heal him up for a little bit, but he is not going to look for this fight right now. Will be able to run away as Doppo tries to chase. Will not find it, but what surprised me the most is that Kbex gets himself a solo kill. Might be looking for more as Moto dies as well. Kbex with 2 shutdowns.
Okay, Kbex was actually just sacking the whole game, as he was just baiting everyone into giving him. He now has a shutdown, the 2-9 Heimerdinger, as we see another fight.
Yeah, well, it's not really a fight. It's a destruction from the side of Lotus Crystal. As it's a double kill for Doppo immediately. Prisco's here, though. Yeah, he is fancying this. I would fancy this as well, but that is a exhaust, and that is the biggest enemy of the Riven. The wind slash goes wide, and you just get absolutely blown up.
Yeah, and one thing we haven't talked about is Motto on that Camille does have 3 items, so it's just absolutely humongous. You said it in the last fight, actually, just how strong Motto is, and can actually take out this Riven, even with the Yuumi on top. And with all the there's a crazy amount of healing in this game, even without, even on the side of Lotus Crystal on that Camille, as they are going to start up this Drake. Kbex is aware of it. Prisco's up in 14.
Oh, big damage on Doppo, but that's the ultimate of Kbex down. He can still put some turrets down. The teleport, however, is from rank 5 Fox, so I think Kbex is going to have to decide against going much deeper. Lotus Crystal are going to be able to secure the Baron, but let's see if the side of Infernal Esports are going to be looking for a fight here, because Lotus Crystal have not been able to back just yet. Once again, Prisco with the teleport behind. It's a good final chapter. Can they find the kill? The rank 5 Fox might be able to just run away, but that is going to be enough damage from Finicky to take him down as Lucian. Trying to run for his life, but with the Yuumi and Scar on his back, is he going to be able to get away? That's the question. It is a good fear. A lot of damage to Scar as well. Moto is now there, but it is against 4 members. Gets blown up, but Moto's actually deciding to go in. Bilka might be in trouble here. Moto is so incredibly strong. Prisco, is he going to be able to jump over? There he goes, but it is Moto who might be looking for a potential pentakill here, but he does get blown up in the end. Scar does die, and it is actually a revive, as now Prisco is fighting against 2 people here in the backline. Lucian is in trouble. The wind slash is huge, and now Falafel and Doppo get knocked up both. The stun of Kbex misses, but it's a double kill for Prisco. He's now going to flash over, look for Doppo. Surely going to be able to find it a triple kill and the shield to get away from the turret. It's Prisco who wins them this fight.
As yes, we're looking at the replay now, as Bilka just gets cut out by the Braum ultimate, and then Oh, it's really unfortunate that Motto just was not able to survive long enough. Was just taken too low and didn't have enough mana to get the next round of spells off, and that just meant Prisco could run wild as Kbex just completely missed everything there. That was the ultimate charged Hextech rockets just going into almost hitting Jason in the production desk in the back there, as we see now.
Oh no, it hit him actually. Yep, there it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it was a bit delayed because he's in Luxembourg, right? It's a bit away from Summoner's Rift, but he
Travel
actually
time, you
managed
know,
to hit it.
projectiles.
Yeah. As the third Drake now also picked up by Imperial Esports. Those Earth Drakes actually going to be quite relevant, I think, particularly for Lucian and rank 5 Fox. They're going to have a lot of trouble breaking through, as we see now this 1v1.
Yeah, might be Prisco winning out though. It's very, very close, but the Ignite is gonna just give the edge over to Moto, who gets the shutdown on Prisco, which is definitely a big shutdown. But now in the top lane, Finicky versus rank 5 Fox. I don't think rank 5 Fox wants to take that battle towards him right now, so gonna opt against it. But Moto just barely winning out on that fight.
Yeah, as you said, the Ignite being the crucial key factor that wins them out, as rank Fox just playing keep away but doesn't have the distortion now, as that's actually a lot of damage from Kbex now.
Yeah, he is very, very strong, as now Skara has been caught out. He's completely on his own though, so I don't think he's going to be able to get anywhere here. Doppo is going to be able to take him down in the middle of his ultimate, but look at the top lane. It's a big push coming in from Infernal Esports, and Lotus Crystal haven't sent anyone to stop it just yet.
Yeah, Motto and Falafel chipping away at this bot lane turret, but I feel like Kbex and Finicky should win out. Motto and Falafel will get this inhibitor before the Infernal can answer it, but they should overall win out on the push, as I think both teams are just looking to race base. No, Infernal are actually looking to back, as I think Kbex, yes, he's actually baiting Lucian.
Yeah, we're having a base race right now, and Lotus Crystal already have one Nexus turret down. They're looking for another one, but Prisco is dead to try and defend it. Finicky almost died, but can Prisco turn things around, though? The ultimate goes wide. Doppo is doing so much damage, however. This River might be in trouble. That's a good stun. Can he get the Wind Slash? No, he cannot. It is a shutdown there for the Ezreal. But Scar is back in time with Finicky to stop in Falafel from pushing any further. I mean, it's a Braum anyway. What is he going to do? And now we might have to pan over towards this bot lane, because that is a more interesting fight, though. It could be both teams just deciding against it. Finicky is going to chase down Falafel. Can he find him, though? I doubt it right now, because the miniwave should be there soon. But here comes the paranoia. It is Kbex in a lot of trouble, but wow, he's just actually healing so much right now with the Yuumi. Rank 5 Fox misses his abilities, and that could be all the trouble that they need. Lucian is down. Can he find another one? The stun is there. Yes, it is Kbex with the double kill, and Bin Falafel is there right now, but I don't think you want to be there right now.
Yeah, Falafel just arriving in time to cheer on the rest of his team. But rank 5 Fox and Lucian, 5 Fox has that Grievous Wounds, but just was not able to consistently proc it, especially without constantly keeping the spells up. It's one of the issues with Grievous Wounds for burst mages like LeBlanc. When you don't have a consistent output source to proc them, then it does eventually fall off, and it means Kbex as... Oh my god.
My god. That is all I can really say for that. I mean, the fact that he one-shots Moto means that we certainly know anyone who gets caught by his E is going to get blown up.
Yeah, that empowered W from the Heimerdinger, especially with no one on the side of Lotus is going to be building any sorts of MR. I'm not even sure why Lucian has it. There's not even that much CC. There is a little bit, but it doesn't reduce small amounts of CC like Riven's knockups and stuns, or even, I think, sets pull in, as we see another fight now breaking out.
Yeah, here comes Scar now. Can be looking to go in. Bin Fluff has already taken a lot of damage, and rank 5 Fox in the side is in a lot of trouble versus Finicky. Scar goes in completely. Does have to run away, though, and it is Bilk who's tanking up a lot of damage here. As rank 5 Fox, I think he might be in trouble here. Finicky with the ultimate is going to have enough damage to take him down. As now the Wind Slash has been used by Prisco, and actually it's going to be Nocturne looking for this fight, going to go towards Finicky, tries to flash away, but he does get himself the shutdown. The teleport is there because in the backline, look at Moto. He's looking for the game win. Is he going to be able to find it? And that is the question. It is going to be the win for Lotus Crystal in the end, as Moto comes out with the base race.
Yeah, and Jesus, you see Moto TP into the back line, just
Oh.
chipping away at that base the past few minutes. Then we see everyone on the side of Inferno Esports realize what's happening. I don't think Jason realized what was happening for a second. We didn't get the pan. Why am I so dark? Oh my god. I don't look at the camera. I'm gonna blow you.
I think it was still. Oh, he's first of all he's muted. I think. But
Listen,
I
Yes.
think he,
by the time I pressed the right button, the game was over on my screen. So
I was gonna
As
say, I think Jason still has like some pain in his head from being hit by that.
Yeah.
but
by
I-
the Hextech rockets. They're
Well,
like
I was
W.
chilling
they're-
here, looking at Heimerdinger, and then like, oh damn, what the hell happened? And 2 minutes later, I look at my screen, victory for Lotus Crystal. Wait, what happened?
Yeah, that's
So, yeah.
sometimes how it goes in these kind of crazy games. Because what a crazy game it really was. Like, I mean, I yeah, blah, blah. I don't know what to say. Like, this was honestly the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But I'm happy we got to see a Riven pop off, and unfortunately lose because Moto, in the end, with the teleport, and if a champion deals a lot of damage against turrets, it is the Camille.
Yeah, Moto kind of putting that game on their back. Even didn't even have the most damage in the game. Was actually, what is that, 4th overall in the rankings, but I feel like it was the most relevant damage. Was able to take out Prisco in that 1v1, was by far the most relevant in the team fights, and was able to take a lot of 1v1s and 1v2s that otherwise would have resulted in 5v5 fights that I don't think Lotus Crystal could afford to take, and eventually just winning out. And even with that split push then further on down the road to end the game, as Inferno Esports actually getting punished for spending so much time in that top lane, namely on Kbex and in that Heimerdinger, who was just sitting in that blue bush so long, but it meant the rest of his team just naturally gravitated towards him to protect him and back him up, but it left the rest of the map just free for Moto to play around with. It was able to take that turret, the inhibitor, and then eventually follow up with that TP. We saw Lucian finally using that paranoia at the very end to cancel Finicky's back, as after he got that 1v1 or tried to kill rank 5 Fox, and it just meant the rest of Inferno Esports couldn't get back in time.
Yeah, very, very well played. That does bring us, of course, to the MVP vote. I already see some people in the chat voting here towards Moto in the top lane, which, yeah, makes a lot of sense for me. I definitely think he's the MVP of this game. I would have possibly, if we just based off the early game, I just wanted to mention rank 5 Fox. He was 6-1-2, and he ended 6-6-3. Like, he has really not been able to do anything in the later stages of this game, and kind of ended up being a non-factor, but it just did not matter because Moto, in the end, and that base raise that, was looking good for the side of Inferno Esports, but it is the side of Lotus Crystal who were able to make some use of it. And honestly, sure, this wasn't the most serious game that we've seen, and there was a lot of fighting back and forth, but it must feel nice to at least, despite not being able to make it to the playoffs, get that win on the board for your team.
Yeah, it's at least a consolation prize for the side of Lotus Crystal. The fact that they could at least take that point away from Inferno Esports, even with the some of the picks coming out from Inferno Esports, particularly towards that bot side, and even the play style of Kbex. But still nice to get the win, even if it is from a base race into a back door with the Heimerdinger camping in your blue bush. It's a win nonetheless. It's a win on the books.
That's exactly
So
what
we
it is.
do indeed have another win in the books. That is the end of today's stream. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and look at what teams made it past our beautiful group stage. So I will not complete the group stage on stream this time like last time, because even then it bugged out. I actually asked Challenger Mode themselves to do it for us. But let me show you the screen. I think this should be correct. Yep. Okay, so basically, as you can see right now, we have this group stage completed, and yeah, on the other series, they have all been played already since they were forfeited as well. So definitely not washed up sneaking in there last second because they got the forfeit against, I think, Rocket Core it was, and then Eclipse Fusion also, or Eclipse Fusion, one of those two, I keep forgetting which one, and then Eclipse Fusion also not being able to play. Therefore, yeah, this will be the standings. Lotus Crystal very shortly missing today's. playoffs. But yeah, clutch but no cigar in the end. Bumblebee Boys are first because they win the head-to-head with the Among Us, which have equal points. However, I don't know Method to Madness. Actually, that I haven't checked. Let me check. Okay, Method to Madness are tied to Among Us. That is an iffy.
Oh, they lost to Bumblebee.
But they lost to the Bumblebees, so that is not an issue for first place. But okay, second and third place have to get coin flipped, I think. We'll have to find out how exactly this one's going to go. But other than that, we don't have any ties. So yeah, all the other are pretty clear. So third and fourth place are going to go to quarterfinals, and fifth and sixth place. But they will play 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. And that's basically it for the quarterfinals. I'll actually do the times later on correctly, but it is on Monday. Quarterfinals number 1 is not being played, since that is the Bumblebee Boys just going immediately to the semifinals. So this one is not played. Quarterfinals number 2 should be on Monday, 7 p.m. CST. Quarterfinals number 3 is not being played. That is the second team, most likely then Among Us or Method to Madness, going directly to the highest seed and the semifinals. And then quarterfinals number 4 is gonna be played between team 5 and 4 and 5. Yeah, there we go. And that should be on Wednesday. Actually, I'm gonna just quickly.
The times are messed up because the quarterfinals are being played 3 days after the semifinals.
Oh,
according
wait,
to
so-
Yeah, it's 1 week too late.
hold up.
There we go.
Ah, damn it! I thought it was earlier. Okay, I thought it was actually later, which would have been good because I think now at least realize that I can't make the finals, which is very sad. But I can, I think, make this quarters. So that is Pog, but
My bad. I'll get that fixed. I actually kicked 1 week too much. Okay, there we go. Now it should be Monday, Wednesday. Yeah, this is Wednesday, so that's perfect. Let's put this on Wednesday as well, just for clarifications purposes, even though this is not being played. And this should be on Friday, and then this will be on Saturday. So they are not simultaneous, but they are actually after each other all times, and days are still susceptible to change, since we will be talking to the... Okay, did that save now? Wait,
There we
what
go.
is going on? You see the same thing? Okay, now it's okay. Yeah, so this is correct now. Yeah, all times are still able to change, and as well as the days, we'll be talking to the teams to ensure that the players are indeed happening as well as being streamed. But other than that, congratulations to all the teams that have made it and the Opera Cup and the Sea of Them split featuring Opera GX. Other than that, we do indeed hope you enjoyed yourselves tonight, as we had a beautiful day with all of you guys together. Yeah, anything else you want to mention, Toki and Xenolot, that now you have seen some games, a lot of the games actually. Anything else you want to give our viewers on their way as we head out?
all I can really say is actually, please do not miss these playoffs because these teams are so incredibly close matched. We should have seen Bumblebee Boys first Among Us today. We're not going to be able to see it, but Among Us look super in form. So do Methods of Madness. And Bumblebee Boys have kind of started to lose that form a little bit. So I don't think any of these games have been decided yet. Any of these playoffs, you can easily say like, oh, this team is going to win, this team is going to win. I feel like it's impossible to say. I genuinely think that this is one of the very few CE splits where I think even the 6th seed in Faro Esports has a very strong chance of winning the whole thing. I feel like these teams are super, super close. It's going to be extremely exciting to see. So make sure you really do not miss these playoffs.
Totally agree.
Yes. So yeah, very similar thoughts. Like the teams can really show up on some days where they can play just out of their actual minds. In terms of like, I think one of the big factors for this tournament is team cohesion, where just we talked about a lot because of the disjointedness of Lotus Crystal in that previous game. But there's times where the opposite can be true, especially for some of the teams in some of the teams like Method and Bumblebees, where they can just show up. They're just of one mind. They can all show up together. All the teams have shown that they're capable of doing it, and it'd be really interesting to see what teams do show up on what days and if they can do it when it counts, and especially when the series start to drag on.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking forward to, because the best of 3s and best of 5 are always a great pleasure to watch. But yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today on Connecting Esports stream. We'll be wishing you the pleasant and most hopefully relaxing evening for a Friday. It's been a long week. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be back on Monday for more information. Stay tuned. Check on our discord.me/ConnectingEsports for more information and all of our social media down below. And yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching today and enjoy the rest of your night. Peace.
Night.